last time we discussed about the grown meat. You know, you can have grown like steak or fish. You know, nowadays in Israel they are able to do it. They can even bring it. You know, so whether it is advisable for spiritual non-vegetarian or spiritual vegan to take it or not. But for people who are non-spiritual for health reason, they can take it because it's non-violent, non-killing. And so what is the difference, you know? Then I just met a friend from, he's a British. I think this guy is multi-talent. He's a doctor, he's a scientist, he's a professor, you know. And he used one word, he is a what? Pharmacology or something like that. So I don't know what he means until later he explained to me. It means whatever thing you take, whatever medicine you take, he will know what will happen to the medicine in your body. He specializes in that, you know. When you take certain medicine, what will happen to the medicine in your body? So that's what he specialized in. So I asked him, you see whether it's correct or not, solution. So I asked him, I showed the video to him. I said, is it genetic modified? What do they fit in? You know, is it okay for spiritual vegetarian to take? You know, of course, he's a very good in explaining. He said this to me. You know, what is GMO, genetic modified? He said, let's say you grow wheat, yeah, and in that place it didn't grow well, but they got a lot of grass. You know, the grass grow very well. You know. So what happened? The scientists will say, oh, the grass grow very well. Then they take the gene from the grass and put into the wheat, and the wheat will grow very well. So it's not original from the wheat. That's why in spiritual we say don't take anything that is genetic modified because it's not good. We don't know what will happen. So this professor also said although there is no yet, it take maybe 100 years or so to prove whether it's good or no good, but he already like more or less don't agree with modified lah. And then he explained to me what is stem cell, which he said in future it will be very good. That means the skin can grow, or you know, you got a knee problem, you implement it and then implant it, and then it will grow back, you know, to normal. So what's the difference? You see, when a baby is formed, right? Once it's formed, the cell will multiply within a few days very fast. You take one gene, you multiply very fast. So he say you don't take like the glass, you know, from another part and put in. You know, that is foreign. This is original by itself. So the way we saw the video is like, you know, you take the meat, you take the cell of the meat, and the meat grow by itself. So according to him, presently is okay, not so bad, you know. In future, we do not know whether there are add or minus there, you know. So he said it's quite safe. We are spiritual, non-violence, and you want to eat, it's still okay. But we know, as a spiritual aspirant, of course, when this new thing, grown meat and all that, it creates a kind of desire, and also it could be very expensive also, because now it's not yet in full production, right? So I do not know what is your opinion about it. What he said, I think probably you understand more. So what's your opinion?
Okay. So yeah. So there are two questions, like GMO, genetically modified food, and also with relevance to stem cells, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So anybody wants to add on before I say something? Anybody wants to any points? Anybody wants to give a comment? Sabitan?
Sairam. I think the same question was asked to Jagat Guru, one of the Sri Giri lineage, the Parampara Gurus. Same question was asked: is it okay or not to consume this? ultimately, he said of course it's not okay, because the reason we are not consuming, and I agree with him, the reason why we are not consuming a certain kind of food, it's because of the qualities of the food. It is not necessarily whether it is vegetarian or non-vegetarian. That's one part of it, the ahimsa part of it. But there's also the quality of the food itself. So non-vegetarian food, the quality of the food is more to tamasic, rajasic kind of quality. So ultimately, even though it's GMO beef, or genetically modified, whatever it is, pork or anything like that, the quality of the guna, the attributes of the food will not change, even though if it's genetically modified. So that's one part of it. And then the other part of it is the ethical issue which is concerned here. If it is done in that way, is it right ethically or not? That's something we can all go on debating. That's from the ethical perspective. And finally, in terms of the health perspective, so is the nutrients going to be the same or not in this particular meat that we consume? So we can view this issue in these three perspectives. That's my understanding.
Yeah. Okay. Nice reply. The thing is, when we're eating genetically modified food, number one, actually nobody has really done any long-term research on this. Genetically modified food, what is the consequence upon the host, short-term and then long-term. What's the long-term? No one has done that kind of extensive research. There are two factors towards it. Number one, not much research done on long-term effect. Number two, every individual reacts differently. That's why now medicine has become what is called personalized medicine. Each of us have got our own microbiome. Our material profiles are different. They are coming to understand that every individual is different. Therefore, I may consume genetically modified food and nothing may happen to me, but the same food consumed by somebody else may also have an effect. So this is why the spiritual people tell us, this is actually nothing to do with, if you really ask me, nothing to do with the spiritual component, it's just common sense. That, when you do, common sense to do towards that. Second one, in stem cells also, we have done work where sometime we have done where we're putting the stem cells. We find that each individual responds differently also. You cannot say that if stem cells works for you, it doesn't mean it works for the other person. Why? Because each has got a host response difference. Every individual responds differently. So these are all generic. That's why when you say COVID, and then some doctors or some people give generic thing, it's okay to use the vaccine. It is no. I don't think it is correct to say that, because this subject matter cannot be done pervasively, because every individual reacts differently. That's why you see mixed reactions coming out, mixed reviews are coming out, because the same stuff given to people reacts differently. So that is the thing. So I think it's not a spiritual subject, just that people must really do thorough investigative work before we make some conclusions. And the fact that when you have a gene and when you tamper with that itself is different means then you are different. We did a study in one sense when we did, there's an organism, we picked it up from cancer patient. That organism was taken from a cancer patient, and that another same organism was taken from normal patient. We did a study, 10 patients like that, and isolated that. You won't believe it, the genetically, the organism itself remains the same. Genetically, both organisms taken from two different conditions remain the same, but behavior-wise, they're becoming different. The one that came from cancer behaves very differently from the one that came out from normal patient. The same organism, genetically the same, behaving differently. The subject is called epigenetics. Epigenetics means the environment is now conditioning your behavioral expression. then that itself already, the same gene is already giving you a different reaction. Then what more of different genetics when you genetically modify? You don't know what the reaction is. So this is a very vast subject, very little investigated. People are tampering with it. To what extent is it going to go, and how it is going to have an effect? We can only wait and see. But at this point of time, it's completely inconclusive.
Suresh, what do you think of the qualities of the food? Every food has a sattvic, rajasic, tamasic quality. So if you create a beef steak from a petri dish, or genetically modified, the qualities, will it still be there in that particular meat, or what do you think?
Okay, I think there are two ways of doing it. One is it's a plant base. Okay, if you're just taking it as a plant base and you're taking it, that's different. But I think also thinking that it is a stick, you're thinking, you're thinking, and then you're taking the stick. Though the content matter is coming like that, but you're already thinking this is coming from a beef. Then itself, I think, definitely will have a influence in the way you go. Because after all, everything has a gross influence and a subtle influence. And I think there will be a subtle influence in that sense. But if you can do a plant-based material without calling it steak, then maybe. So plant-based cauliflower, let's say. And then then you just focus only on the cauliflower. Oh, this is a vegetarian stuff. I think the superimposition of the thinking is not there. Now you're cutting, you're thinking that you're taking a steak, a piece of steak, though the original stuff is that you're superimposing an illusion upon a reality. That itself can give you impression. And actually, when you take a consciousness, like for example, if we are ourselves elevating our consciousness in terms of thing, you won't feel like, for example, I have seen very highly evolved meditative people, when you take them to a Chinese vegetarian shop, they also don't really like that, mock fish, mock chicken and all that. They don't like that. They said, no, it's okay. Let's just go to a normal vegetarian shop. Let's not go to this. Because they don't like the idea of a fish, chicken. Yeah, although it's a protein, you see. So yeah.
Yeah, Saram, thank you, Sapitan and Dr. Suresh. Actually, what both of you say is very true. Sapitan said, especially he mentioned the point where you take meat is more rajasic, tamasic. I think that in the genes itself is still there, although it's non-killing, non-violence, it will be still there because the gene part, I presume is still there, But one thing very interesting was two stories I'd like to tell you. I think you also heard in China now, they are rearing pigs, because why? They are successfully, let's say your eye got problem, the eye that is closest to human is the pig eye, So China now is doing this. Let's say your eye is going blind, you change the eye. The one that is closest is the pig, and it was successful, to change the organ eye, by using the pig eye, I don't know if Suresh have heard of this or not, but it was mentioned. Yeah. That's one thing. Then the other thing was this British friend. He told me, of course, his original country is Sri Lanka, right? He's a British. Then he told me one thing very, very interesting. He said, James, you look at my finger. He showed me his forefinger. The middle finger, the skin slightly look the same, but very small different. You see my finger all the same or not? So I noticed the middle finger doesn't look like the other three fingers. Very, very, very small difference. Then he told me this story, I think this is very interesting. He said one day he went back to Sri Lanka, the roof need to repair. So the contractor didn't do it properly. Then he, being a scientist and all that and very professional, he said, let me show you how to do. So he went up the ladder. He was showing, this is how you do. And another hand was holding the roof or something like that. Then he felt his middle finger, something bite, a small bite, Within 2-3 days, the finger are swollen, 2-3 times the size, Then he also, within that few days, he went back to England. And what happened was, he's with the research and all that. He's in the university that got research team and that. And there was one friend who specialized in cell. But he a stem cell. That means he specialized in pig, pig. So he quickly made arrangement to see this friend. They are very close friends. He don't want to go through the system because system had to wait and all that, So his friend looked at him and then test the blood and all that. He said, "Wow, your hand swollen 2-3 times, are very big." And then they found it's a spider to bite, very poisonous poison. So he had to remove it, and say, "You be the guinea pig, lah. I'll put the pig skin inside, the pig, pig type, the pig stem cell inside." So he saw him operating, he can see the bone on both sides, the finger, both sides, you can see the finger. And he was very, very scared, But his friend told him one thing, it will grow, but it can be overgrown, Then it will come out a bit ugly, But that little bit I can cut, Is it okay for you now? Because he become a guinea pig already, Then he said, "Okay, at least my hand is okay, I still can use my hand." So now his hand, perfect, If he doesn't show you, you wouldn't know, it is the stem cell finger, stem cell, But the skin a little bit different in color, little bit different. It can overgrown, he said. But the overgrown can be cut away. Very interesting. But of course, he's with the scientist group and all that. He know all the, some of the pro and con and all that. Sairam.
Okay, Sairam, and very nice discussion about these subjects. So now the last session, Billy, where did we stop? What was it? I think it's Sabitan, right?
Yeah, Sabitan.
Yes. Yeah. Let me share. Sarah, are you able to see the screen?
Yeah.
Okay. My humble pranams, the lotus feet of our beloved Bhagavan. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to meet in such manner, to share our ideas and share our thoughts together. And also thanking Bhagavan to giving us the realization that the one who speaks and also the one who listens is all him and also through his grace. Okay, so last week, I think we had a very good discussion on love. And Brother Manoj, he brought up the definition of love. What does love actually, selfless love mean? And then we had a very fruitful discussion on that. And over the week, when I managed to go through some of the satsang, and then this came about. So let me narrate this experience. So this Professor Gokak is the Vice Chancellor of the Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning, the ex-Vice Chancellor, not currently. So he had an experience with Bhagavan, and he is a very esteemed and well-distinguished language professor, and he speaks really well proficiently in English, and apparently he had studied abroad and published some paper in Oxford and had achievements of that sort. And when he came back to India, he was always with Swami, and one day, as Swami came out of, so Professor Gokak has this interest, and he also has this, he is always sought by students if they would like to get some inspiration from him. So he is a well-learned person, not only in the Western philosophies, but also the spiritual philosophies of the Indian heritage. So he knows the Vedas and everything. So Swami came one day, and Swami just looked at him and said, Gokak, what is love? So, and Professor Gokak actually narrates this experience where he felt as if he knows a lot of things, a lot of definitions, a lot of theoretical knowledge. But when Swami asked something so simple as what is love, and he was a bit awestruck. And then, of course, when you're with Swami, you are expected to give an answer. But I think they all know that if you don't know, you just better don't say anything, just keep quiet. So he couldn't find a better definition to love, and perhaps he had tried to explain it in his words, but Swami wasn't satisfied. And then Swami was about to leave, and he turned back, and he went to Professor Gokak, and Swami said this. So I was I was driving in the highway when I heard this, and I had to stop to record this because I didn't want to miss it. Swami said to Professor Gokak, "Love is selflessness. Self is lovelessness. Love is selflessness. Self is lovelessness." So, so maybe I can, maybe like to invite everyone here, anyone who would like to just unmute and share your opinion on this phrase here, this definition of love that Swami has given. Love is selflessness, self is lovelessness. Anyone?
Sairam. I think what I understand is when you are in love to do Swami work, and you have the passion and I think most important is the passion of love of doing his work. And after doing it, you can feel happy, You can feel the experience of happiness, a kind of bliss, And while you do all these things, to some other people, they might think, what man, James doing all these small thing or this what I call this work, that work, Selfless are people who are on the self will look at the situation at a different angle. They will give excuses, the excuses and reason, why you pay, why you so enthusiastic to do his work, and you can ask somebody to do, like giving some sort of somehow some sort of reason and some sort of excuses. But actually it's just pure love and pure passion of when you see the thing, you just love to do it. And it's like Swami is guiding and blessing you. That's what I understand from experience. Sairam.
Anyone? Yes, Sister
Sairam,
Rajeshwari.
love is some nice feeling. It's beautiful. It's what is giving and sacrifice. It's a nice feeling. It's permanent. And it's the truth. It's a true feeling which every human being must experience. It's giving. Love means giving. And you are in a really happy state of mind when you are in love with everything around you and everyone. Sairam.
So let's focus on the self that Swami uses here. Is this a big self or the small self? The limited self or the true self?
True self.
Maybe the self is lovelessness. I think that is a small self.
Yeah. So Swami mentions here that love is selflessness, meaning that, love is basically, the opposite of being selfish, which is selfless. and then you care for others, sacrifice for others, help others. And also self is lovelessness. So the other way around is when you are focused on your individual identity, on maintaining this individual identity on this planet, then you are straying away from true love, which is the state of lovelessness. So this is what Swami has meant here. I hope this answers our question from last week. I just thought of sharing this. Okay, now let's move forward. We're going to do a short exercise. Okay. So here there are 4 blind people who wanted to know the form of an elephant and began touching each one of its organs and were thinking that the elephant has the same form as the particular organ which he or she has touched. Okay, so this is more of a reflective kind of question, and of course I would like everyone to contemplate on this as much as possible. So again, 4 blind people, okay, just imagine you are one of the blind person here, okay, who wanted to know the form of an elephant, began touching each one of its organs and were thinking that the elephant has the same form as the particular organ which he has touched. So Swami gives this example of the 4 blind person who wants to know the form of an example of an elephant. And so the person starts touching the elephant at different places, and then they were trying to understand, think, is this the form of an elephant? Is this the form of an elephant? But their perception is only limited to the place that they have touched the elephant. So they can't actually make out the actual organ of the elephant or the entire, which part of the elephant is touching, or they actually can't make out the entirety of the elephant itself. So the question here is, have you encountered situations where your understanding was incomplete due to a limited viewpoint? Okay, just like these people, they're all blind and then they want to know the form of an elephant. So they're all touching, they'll just assume they've not seen an elephant before. So they're all touching from different parts of the elephant and they're trying to make out the whole form of the elephant. How does the elephant actually look? But they're unable to do so because of their limited perspective, because they have only touched one part. So you're touching the leg, so you will not know that the elephant has a head, the elephant has a trunk, because you're only touching the leg. So similarly, have you encountered situations where your understanding was incomplete due to a limited viewpoint? Can you share your experience? Anyone would like to unmute and share your experience, especially in maybe in a spiritual experience or anything at all? There are no right or wrong answers.
Sairam.
Brother.
Swami say, it's good to be born in a church, but do not die in the church. So that's why each religion, if you are very strict, stick to your own religion, your own belief, then it become like very limited. That's why Swami says all religion, we study all religion, because each religion, each culture will be different. So we should be like more open, what is good, we pick up. What is good, we pick up. Like, for example, in Malaysia also, we have multi-race. But you see, the food we eat is not only Indian or Chinese or Malay, but we can take all combination, it become near real good food or something like that, So to study all religion is very important, because some religion will talk one part, but the other part they didn't complete. But you can find it in other religion also. So all the good we go and pick from different part, and then it will help you to go more spiritual. Like I'm Buddhist, I become a better Buddhist after coming to know Swami, right? I won't say back, oh, I'm Buddhist, then Swami one I don't study. But I'm very open because you can read, you see what Swami said, oh, this is correct. So your conscience will tell you what is right and what is wrong. Now, this is one part. We have to be very open, right? That's why there is also a saying, when you go and see a guru or Swami or anything, you read a lot, you got a lot of knowledge, you got many years of study, but you cannot go with a heart that is full. Whenever you go and see a guru or Swami, right, it's always good to have a open and empty heart. Open and empty heart. Like, for example, every time we go to Puttapati, the first thing I pray to Swami, Swami, please bless me, guide me, teach me. That's it. And every time I go, definitely you will learn something one. Because you very sincere, pray Swami, guide me, teach me, show me, Somehow something will happen and you will learn something. Okay? Then another one from my experience as a meditator. After 21 years, Swami called. Then I realized Swami guided me like, Yogananda book will come to me, Vivekananda, Buddhist Ajahn Chah will come to me, or some other Buddhist master meditator will come to me. Then I read all the meditation they practice. Hey, how come all similar? All similar. They might use different mantra, but the goal, the way you do it to reach the highest purpose is the same. Then you have the the foundation and also the upper part. If you just on your own, probably you are still at the bottom part. Like I give you an example. 20 years I meditate. I take care of my family, take care of family business. That's all. I never do seva, When it come to know Swami, the first thing I learned from Swami was when I went to Bangsa after coming back from India. Before I went to Bangsa Center, before I entered in, I saw outside young and old very busy, doing seva, helping this, arrange that. And I said, oh my God, although I practice meditation, I cannot evolve higher because why? I never do seva. Because why? Meditation to me, there's no grace. Unless you are a very high level meditator. Otherwise, you need the blessing and the grace for you to evolve. So these are the things that, we don't be like the blind man. Don't say, I'm one of the blind men, right? Be multiple, be open to all. Sairam.
Sairam, thank you, Brother James. Thank you, Brother James. Gave a few examples just now about religion, how religion, just sticking to one religion, though it may be a good thing to do, if you don't have an open mind, but of course, if you have an open mind, it's good to also study about other religions so that you are able to handle it and have a wider perspective of how things are. So Brother James also gave a few examples of his personal example being a meditator and how he realized that seva actually helps him evolve. So thank you, Brother James. Anyone else who would like to share your opinion?
Saira,
Sairam,
first
Sister
of all, praying, spirituality means only praying and offering prasadam and all. This is what I thought first. But later on, I came to know that it's more than that. There's a lot more in spirituality, like helping, serving, caring, like that. It's really became a big thing. I thought first only prayers and offering, but later through experience, I know it is more than that. You're involved in every second. You're involved in that. I came to know it's a big, vast thing, but at the same time, it's very simple too. Sairam.
Sairam, thank you, Sister Rajesh. So she was explaining how initial stages of sadhana can eventually lead to, ultimately something else. So it's also a part of a limitation, understand an incomplete view of a certain thing, a certain form, perhaps. Okay, thank you, sister. Anyone else?
Sairam,
Sairam, Sister Jenny.
when we don't have complete understanding of something, we must try not to give incorrect information. It's better not to say more than what we know. Sairam.
Sairam. Thank you, Sister Jenny. Very short and sweet, yet very powerful statement. Correct.
Sairam, brother.
Sairam, Brother Ram.
There's an English proverb which says, a little knowledge is a dangerous thing. A little knowledge is a dangerous thing. There are a lot of people in this world, professionals included, who seem to feel that they are able to comprehend the whole thing about the universe from the little understanding they have learned or been taught in school. But there is a lot more to it which they have got to understand, which requires more internal exploration, more learning, more knowledge in order to come to a better understanding. If they don't, and if they stick to only their way, they will become isolated. Their views will be just they are very short-sighted. They will not be able to explain more than what little they know. So it is just like a child who plays with a toy, how to correct or how to repair a mechanical instrument. And then this child now tries his hand onto an engine. Now surely he's going to get burnt. And that is because he has no knowledge on how the engine operates. So there must be something more the child needs to know, and that is for him to explore further, get the knowledge, and then get the fundamentals correct before he can open the motor vehicle engine. So the whole thing here is, even in a situation like teaching of Swami's teachings, if you do not follow the teachings in the way Swami has taught, but if you pretend that one little you know is adequate for you to move on into the journey of Swami's teachings, then you will have many pitfalls and you will fall, and you will also become an isolate within the community of, say, for instance, Sai devotees. So you have got to be open-minded, acquire more knowledge, and then you got to express yourself, show your interest, and develop. The whole thing is a long process which never ends. This is what you call sadhana. So the sadhana will just help you. Sadhana is a spiritual practice, and along the path, Swami will come and give you the inputs in order to expand further and further and further. The very opposite of it is you block your mind and you just stick to that little knowledge you have. And then you're not experiencing what you want to experience. And that is because you have blocked yourself. So you got to open yourself and get on moving with other devotees, moving with other sevas which is going on. And then you will get a better understanding of how to reach the goal. So this is my understanding of what is a little knowledge is a dangerous thing. Sarabha.
Yeah. Thank you, Brother Rama. So Brother Rama has also mentioned about how limited knowledge can actually be a dangerous thing, because we might have a very skewed inference of what reality truly is. And so the question that we might all want to ponder upon is it fair for us to think or to even come to a conclusion that you know something or even everything just based on the senses that you have? So just by the senses, you're navigating this world. So how you see the world from the senses that the human can perceive is not the same as how dragonfly or butterfly or another animal like a leopard or birds, they perceive the world, or dolphin perceives the world. And what the dolphin knows of the world is going to be very different than what we actually know of the world as well. So having said that, we also need to come up with ways how we can widen our own perception. If one's own perception is very limited to one's own understanding of what is reality, then you are, as Brother Rama said, you're just like the blind person who is touching one part of the elephant, thinking that that is the elephant's form. However, that person, that blind person, fails to realize that he is only touching, for instance, the leg, but he has missed out the elephant's body, missed out the other leg, missed out, the front legs, maybe the tail of the elephant, the trunk of the elephant, the tusk of the elephant, the eyes of the elephant, and different parts of the elephant. So similarly, we have all come into Swami's fold in the hope that we can see unity in diversity. And this unity in diversity will start to manifest the moment we disidentify with all the identifications that we have created for ourselves, for our community, with our families, with our job and whatnot. Of course, on a worldly level, it's important that we maintain these identities. However, when we transcend into the spiritual level, we also need to let go of these identities so that our mind will, as Brother Rama quite rightfully mentioned, will start to open up. And when this opening happens, then we are able to perceive more. This reminds me of a story of a priest, a Catholic priest, who is of an Indian origin, but was born and was raised in Africa, in one part of Africa. And so he's a very staunch Catholic priest. And somehow or rather, he realizes at one point of time he had this spiritual calling to go to Tiruvannamalai at the Aruna Chala mountains, So he was there in Tiruvannamalai, where Ramana Maharishi's ashram is there. So what he did was, he lived in this particular ashram, and in the morning he would just sit silently. He doesn't understand why he had this calling, even though he has already, to a certain extent, consolidated the belief that Jesus Christ is the only savior. There's no one else. My way is the only way. So he has that mindset already. Before, and he's a pastor, so he has been teaching this to multiple people in Africa. And then once he came to Tiruvannamalai, and because of the calling he had, and in Tiruvannamalai there is this one Shivan temple in the Arunachala hill, and apparently the Garbhagraha, or the main sanctum sanctorium, that part of the temple is usually dark, so you cannot see the Shivalingam inside when the when Aarti is taken. And somehow or other he went to the temple, and finally during that darshan when he was able to visualize or see or directly see the Shivalingam during the Arati, something just hit him like an energy form or a wisdom or insight, something just struck him at that very moment. He realizes that spirituality or God is beyond the belief that he has held all his life. And so after that day, he has been living in the Arunachala mountains and also in Ramana Maharishi's ashram, and he alternates, he goes back to South Africa. I'm not sure which part of Africa, sorry. So he goes back there, and he even once he has, after this experience, he accounts that even during some celebration in the past, he was a very fanatic priest. So when the Hindus would actually bring lights and lamps nearby the church, he would actually oppose it. But after this experience, even in the church, he started to light lamps. He started to teach those people who comes to his sermon. He started to educate them that all religion is one, and Jesus Christ is somewhat like a gate for you to access the ultimate. And what's more interesting is he gave an analogy. He said, as you climb up the spiritual ladder, or he gave analogy of a mountain. So he said, all spiritual aspirants, as you climb up the mountain, you can only view one part of the mountain. So if you're climbing out, let's say from the south, right? As you climb out, when you turn back, of course, in front of you is the mountain. When you turn back, you only can see the south, right? So as similarly, when you climb up from the east, when you climb up from the west, you climb up from the north, you can only see one viewpoint from the mountain that you're climbing. But as you keep on climbing the mountain of spirituality, you will start to realize that the viewpoint starts to expand. And this, he says, is the hallmark of spiritual evolution in a person. When you start to see beyond your beliefs, beyond your past vasanas or past tendencies and identification, and you move all the way to the top until you reach the peak. And when you are at the peak, it's only then you have the perception of the entirety of the view. The north, the south, the east, the west, the entire circumference around. So this analogy that this priest gave really resonated with me. And though I've watched this documentary, I think about 3 to 4 years ago, I always remember this because I personally use this as a hallmark for my own personal spiritual evolution. Whether is my, when I reflect, when is my perception becoming more limited? Am I becoming more expansive or constricted? And is my identities, my circle of identity, is it shrinking or is it expanding? So these are all ways how we can navigate as we move up the spiritual mountain per se. Thank you. So thank you everyone for participating in this question. It was nice to hear from everyone.
Sathya, I just want to ask just now that I just want to say something else. Elephant. You see, there's two things towards this. Number one, if we are touching one part of the elephant and then concluding what the elephant is, it just means that they don't have the full information. So the first principle of the whole thing is that whenever we are relating or whenever we're collecting the information from the senses can only decode what you have, what you see. This is just direct information, direct accessing. So even Adi Shankara, when he finished his life, when he was going towards merging, and he was just about to merge when one devotee asked, what is merger like. And there is no description or definition of what merger is, because if you want to describe a merger, you must have a mind. But when you have merged, there's no mind. So how can you describe? So that's where the paradox, oxymoron paradox is there. But with one faint little trace of the mind left, Adi Shankara mentioned that when you're merging, whatever you know is nothing compared to what you will know or what you should know. That means whatever books you read, whatever stuff you have, whatever conceptual knowledge you have, is just perhaps one fraction or 1% of the whole huge thing that needs to know. So information gathering through senses can only give us a limited knowledge. That is the first principle, which is why we have to increase our level of consciousness, because in heightened consciousness, we move towards newer ways of getting the information and newer ways of processing the information to get the right conclusions. So the real reason why we become more and more spiritual is because heightened consciousness will give newer insights, which makes you conclude effective decision-making processes. So this is the first step. So this is first step. That means from the senses, only limited you can see, okay? But most of the time, 90% of the population lives with collecting information. And so the Maya has trapped them in the sense that this is the world, this is how you should live. So that senses are dictated. That is why the avatar has come. Look, if you just continue living with the senses like that and collecting information, living by the information, you will not proceed towards getting the higher information and higher experiences. So this is why the teacher has come to change the way in which, that's why Swami said in one line, one beautiful line, your drishti creates the srishti. So how you see will create the world. See, drishti creates the srishti. So then the question asked to Swami, then how do I improve my drishti? My drishti can only be improved by escalating human consciousness towards divine. So each time you create new srishti, because the way you see things will be different. So this is what this limitation of this perception just by looking at our senses, all the knowledge that we get will be very finite and very limited. And this is the jail that Krishna was born inside. And that is what he's trying to say when Krishna Jayanti comes, when he comes out of the jail. Why? Because that limited perception and limited confinement of knowledge will only give you a small understanding of the world. But when you open your gate, your new drishti will create new srishti. And that is the experience that we as spiritual people should experience, deeper and deeper and deeper aspects of that whole experience that is wanting. Makes sense, huh?
Thank you, Suresh, and a wonderful explanation just now. Okay. Yeah,
I
go
think turning the Zoom Satsang also, everybody learn a lot.
Yeah. No, James, okay, yeah. One more point. You said it correctly. So now, how do we learn? How do we experience? Each person has got different level of consciousness. Each person will see things in a different way. So now the question is, how can we get a collective knowledge? By listening to other people, by becoming aware of other people's experiences. We collectively collect information and we bring up. This is another. That's why Satsang is the ferry boat that takes you across the ocean or something. See, we keep on repeating the same line. But what is that Satsang? Satsang is with your mixing with people. So the people is the most valuable asset, because if you have got 10 people, you've got 10 levels of consciousness interpreting the world differently, giving you insight. If you collect all the insights from different people, your world will now become much bigger. Your insights will become much bigger. With insights, you get better decision making, and therefore you can cross the ocean of samsara. So what James is saying is also right, because when you are coming with satsangs like this, it's very powerful collection of insights. You see things in a different way. But what is the session going to tell you? Okay, now 3 things. 3I we must be careful. Number 1, information collection. That is what we do. But as a result of the information collection, number 2, the second I will come. What is that? Inference. You have to make inferences from the information. And number 3, From the third level, you must go to intuition. The third level where you see the same insight with an intuitive mind. That's how you deepen the role, deepen and continue to deepen the same experience deeper and deeper and deeper. So you start seeing them. Then, so on the up on the seabed is what we call knowledge, but down on the seabed is called wisdom. So where you want to lie, keep on lying on collecting information, all information must translate to wisdom. You must see the, and then that wisdom must give, okay, so what? So I know this, so what? I know. So now, for example, this study cycle is over. This next week we'll be releasing, Sathya Scriptural Committee will release a new study cycle called the 108 Names of Sathya. So for Baba's 99th birthday, we are releasing 18. Then Shivaratri, another 18 names. Like that for until Baba's 100th birthday, 18 names. Now 18 names is Swami's Namavali. So all the 108 names. So you are the Lord, you are the compassionate one, you are the one, Puttaparthi, you are this, you are that. We keep on chanting. What is the purpose of that chant? Why we keep on reminding the Lord that you are great, you are fantastic, you are marvelous, and we keep on saying that how many times? So we changed it now. So what we are doing is 18 is like acting like 18 mirrors, reflecting so that we can increase our frequency. Each line is supposed to reflect and say, hey, where are we in that consciousness? Where are we? Yes, you are compassionate, but what about us? What about me? Am I as compassionate as you? Why am I not as compassionate? So when you start evaluating like that, what's happening? We are increasing our frequency, increasing. So using the Namavali to increase our own consciousness, so that by the time we reach Swami's 100th birthday, we've got a new self we can present to Bhagavan, new version of ourselves. So this is the transformation that we are sincerely hoping that we can encounter. This is really what it is. Like now we just did finish the last Monday, we did the Gita Vahini, if some of you joined, and we talked about conflict resolution and what is conflict and why conflict has come in our life and all that. It all is about maturity. That means developing higher levels of consciousness. The end result, what is the end result of a spiritual? End result of a spiritualist is mind must be free. It must be able, once you finish all the challenge, not to brood and not to be worried. It should be available for what? For higher contemplation of the divine. So once we have that mind and the capability of doing that, naturally, it's autopilot. We just keep on escalating consciousness. So this is what we should be doing in a spiritualist, and then dedicate time for this particular purpose. Makes sense?
Now, Saram, the other thing is, this satsang is synergy of all our knowledge and experience. And so I say, when you put knowledge into experience, put into action, we become wisdom. So actually, in this satsang, we are actually synergizing all our knowledge, experience, and wisdom. Saram.
Thank you, Brother James. Thank you, Suresh. Maybe just to add on another thing is that if at all you would like to know God or Paramatma, then of course the way of knowing is to understand that Paramatma is the collective consciousness itself. So by experiencing satsang and like Suresh Anna mentioned and Brother James mentioned, as we engage with others, our knowing becomes more rich, and the judgments will slowly start to drop. Everything will appear as if it's a play, and a natural state of joy and pleasantness and peace will start to shine through your mind, because you will come to realize that there's no point of being too worried about something. There's no point of being too depressed about something, where nothing is actually, as we have gone through that statement multiple times. Swami has said, even in the last presentation, we don't control our digestive system. We don't control our breath. We don't control our heart. We don't control our excretion. We pretty much don't control anything of this body. The cells move at its own pace. The neurons fire at its own pace. Everything works by itself. And here we are thinking that the body is me, and so identified with the body. So hopefully by listening to Satsang and sharing our opinion, our viewpoint will become wider. Though, as Suresh and I mentioned, when we merge eventually, we might not be able to experience it, but because there won't be a mind, but
got it.
but the knowing, as Suresh and I mentioned, is a very deep knowing of your true self. Hopefully, we all reach that stage very soon. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Let's move on to this video of when the truth is known, when all is seen. So let's watch the short video, and then we'll go around in groups and get everyone to share their opinion of this video. What do you think of it? And what is your, once you have information, then you have to come up with inferences, right? So let me provide you with the information, and then let's hear your inferences after this.
Namaste. Welcome to the channel where we explore insights and stories from ancient Indian texts and literatures. Today we delve into the story, Truth is Known When All Is Seen. From Chandogya Upanishad. Once upon a time, in the sacred land of ancient India, there lived 5 great rishis, Prachinshila, Satyagna, Indradyumna, Jana, and Budila. These wise sages were well versed in the Vedas, those ancient scriptures that held the secrets of existence. One day, gathered together under the vast canopy of a banyan tree, they engaged in a profound discussion: what is our true self? Who is the ultimate reality, the Brahman? Their voices echoed through the forest, but consensus eluded them. Seeking clarity, they decided to seek the counsel of a renowned sage, Rishi Uddalaka. Uddalaka, a realized soul and a seeker of knowledge, welcomed the 5 rishis. Yet, when they humbly requested him to reveal the wisdom of Vaishvanara Atman, the All-Self, he hesitated. You see, Uddalaka was forever curious, always eager to learn more. He sensed an opportunity to expand his own understanding. With a gentle smile, Uddalaka suggested they visit King Ashwapati, son of Kekya. According to him, Ashwapati possessed deeper insights into Vaishvanara Atman. And so, the 5 sages, led by Uddalaka, embarked on their journey to the king's opulent palace. Upon arrival, they were treated with honor. King Ashwapati, a noble ruler, informed them of an impending grand sacrifice. He promised them wealth equal to that of the chief priest, a generous offer. But these rishis sought something more profound, the knowledge that bridged the individual with the universal, the Vaishvanara Atman. Ashwapati agreed to teach them. The next day, the rishis sat as eager pupils, their hearts open to revelation. The king unfolded the secret wisdom, the essence that connected all existence. He addressed each sage individually, tailoring his teachings to their unique meditative practices. Heaven Seeker, to the one who meditated upon heaven, Ashwapati revealed that the self was like pure light, the radiant head of the Vaishvanara. Sun Contemplator, for the disciple who saw the sun as self, the king spoke of the universal form, the eye of the Vaishvanara. Air Devotee, to the sage who meditated upon air, Ashwapati described the variegated course, the very life force, prana, of the Vaishvanara. Akash Mystic, the rishi who focused on Akash, the boundless sky, learned that the self was fullness, the trunk of the Vaishvanara. Water Seeker, for the disciple who saw water as self, Ashwapati revealed the Vaishvanara called Rai, the essence within, akin to a bladder. Earth Adherent, lastly, the sage who contemplated earth discovered the self called Pratishtha, the very foundation, the feet of the Vaishvanara. But Ashwapati didn't stop there. He gently admonished them, meditating on paths won't reveal the whole. Truth dawns when all is seen. The Vaishvanara Atman wasn't fragmented, it was the symphony of existence, the cosmic dance of unity. And so, these rishis learned that the self transcended mere fragments. It was the tapestry woven from every thread of creation, the truth known only when all was seen. And thus, under the ancient banyan tree, they sat, eyes wide, hearts full, immersing themselves in the grandeur of Vaishvanara Atman, the eternal essence that bound them to the cosmos. The Rishi's journey reminds us to look beyond superficial layers. Each sage had a unique perspective, but the deeper truth lay beyond their initial focus. Similarly, in our lives, we often get caught up in surface-level experiences. The story encourages us to explore the profound, to seek the essence beneath appearances. King Ashwapati's admonishment, meditating on paths won't reveal the whole, holds a crucial lesson. Truth isn't found in isolation, it emerges when we embrace the entirety of existence. Just as a puzzle's beauty lies in the completed picture, our understanding deepens when we see the interconnectedness of life. The Rishis' individual meditations, whether on heaven, sun, air, or earth, highlight the diversity of perspectives. Yet, when they came together, they realized that truth transcends these fragments. The Vaishvanara Atman, the All-Self, isn't confined to any one aspect, it's the harmonious interplay of all existence. We, too, can learn to appreciate diverse viewpoints and seek unity beyond. The Vaishvanara Atman embodies the cosmic dance, the rhythm of creation. We, too, participate in this dance. Our actions, thoughts, and connections ripple through existence. Recognize your part in this grand symphony and dance consciously. May we all seek that holistic vision, the truth that emerges when we embrace the entirety of existence. Dear fellow seekers, hit that subscribe button along with that bell icon to watch the latest video.
Okay, Saram everyone. Let's like to invite anyone to unmute yourself and share your thoughts on this video. What was the learning point derived from this video? Anyone?
Saram. I think in my beginning of my spiritual practice, there are many of us who attended meditation courses. But why do we go to learn meditation? Like for example, for me, Buddha got enlightenment because of meditation. For me, okay. So I just know that there is something called enlightenment. I do not know what is it, but I know it's very big. Okay. But many of my friends who attend is because of family problem, business problem, financial problem, health problem, they all have certain objective. Similarly, people who seek spirituality also, like in Swami teaching say, there are 4 types of people who come on 4 wives. Swami said call 4 wives. I think most of you understand as 4 wives. Some will desire for richness, some will desire for herbs, some will desire for knowledge, some only want God himself, right? So each person will have different. So your story about here is similar to the 4 wives. But the most important is the highest that you want to go to. And how to go about it is not to ask for all these small thing or material thing in this world. Ask for something that is real, eternal, something like enlightenment or liberation. That is most important. As I think also Suresh always used to say, as we evolve spiritually, we also develop certain Shakti, certain power, certain Siddhi power. So that is not the main station. Those are all the substation. So always be careful when you develop certain substation or certain Siddhi power. Do not be attached to you because they are much more than that to reach that itself. Sairam.
Sairam, thank you, Brother James. Anyone else would like to share your insights?
Yes, what I understood is the whole universe is interconnected. Even the five elements, everything, nature, all human beings, the Atma, Jiva. So there's unity, and because of unity, there's only oneness. And that oneness is Parabrahma. That is Satchidananda. That's what I understood. So actually, there's only one way and one Saira. That's what I understood.
Right. I mean, and so I think we can all easily come up to the conclusion that interconnectivity, there's a play of cosmos and all of that. But how do we move towards this experience? How does this experience become ours? What are the subtle things that we can do or notice when we are moving towards understanding this? So the story can also mean that, you know, the sage was fortunate enough that he met the king and the king gave him the knowledge. But the avatar has come, this like Professor Suresh said, you know, the avatar has come to elevate mankind, and we are all in close proximity, you know, we are all, after all, in him. Around him, he's can be the other way around as well. So
See,
the point here is, how do we make this our experience?
Yeah.
What are some things that we can do to make this our
I think
experience?
I think we have to understand ourselves first.
Yeah.
Without knowing about ourselves, we can't understand other people, other things. First, know yourself first. That is everything. That is in
Right.
everything.
Yeah. You
You
know,
have to understand and experience. You'll know. It's all one.
yeah. So the thing is,
Right.
mainly, if you look at the five people, if you look at the story, forget the content matter, forget the five elements, forget all that. That is all that's content matter. The most important thing is that you see the picture. The five of them are going to a palace, going somewhere. And then when you go and reach there, the guy is telling you, listen, I'll give you the salary, I'll give you the pay equivalent to the high priest, which is quite substantial, which is quite a big amount, you know. And these guys are saying, no, it's okay, that's not necessary, but I want this. See, the key thing is in this whole subject matter, it is not the content, it is not the experience, it is the inquisitiveness, the search. That is what is important. It is not, because once you have inquisitiveness, you need not worry how the knowledge is to be gained, what kind of knowledge you will gain, when you will gain. All that is secondary. The key factor in spirituality is inquisitiveness and the desire to know. That is why Jnana Vahini Swami said, you see, his words are all powerful. He said, one who is not having a questioning mind will never become a jnani. See, therefore, the thing is, the mind must always question, okay, why is this like that? What is it? Okay, what is that vichara? How do I get that? So that inquisitiveness and thirst must be there. That thirst takes you to the teacher, not that the thing. The thirst, that's why Swami said, more important than guru is guri. What does it mean? Guri means the goal. You need to know that I've come here, this world is only going to be limited. Very soon my body will age, it will crumple, my skin will become wrinkled, I will bend and I will collapse and die one day. This is the reality. So I'm only given 30, 40 years or 20 years, whatever. The time is only for me to know this. And I must have that burning, yearning, thinking, the thirst to know that knowledge. Then avatar becomes relevant. Avatar becomes important. Avatar's teachings become useful. Otherwise, the teacher will only be used as a prop in our jail. We are living in a jail, and then we bring the altar in our jail, and then we continue to pray, oh Lord, make this jail beautiful, make this jail wonderful. May we have a carpet, maybe we have a color TV, maybe. We are decorating our jail, we are living in the jail, but we are not asking him to open the jail door and reveal. That is what the story is telling. And each one, as we keep on yearning for it, we will get bits and pieces of knowledge. But the bits and pieces of knowledge now must be unified, must be synthesized. Then the holistic experience will take place. But even that you will find it will be naturally led to, because you know why? We are thirsting for the Atma. So the Atma will guide us. Hey, this is you now. He will help us to connect the dots. Hey, you know that. Hey, oh, wow, aha, oh, see that the revelation will start coming into. Actually, to be honest, this is how the rishis did it up there. Smriti and Sruti is two different words. Sruti means it is coming from inside. All the knowledge is revelation knowledge. Revelation, how did you get the knowledge? You did not want this knowledge. You just sat down and meditation, boom, the knowledge came. You see, this is the person was not looking for that part, you know. He was actually sitting down meditating, boom, the Sruti comes up. Then he records down. These Srutis are collected, and that's how the knowledge is expounded and expressed. So our job is to develop a thirst, an unquenchable thirst, that we must have the desire to know. I want to know it. I must have this desire. Why is this knowledge like? Once you have that, automatically all the gates will start opening up. That's what I gathered from this information.
Thank you, Nan. Okay. One practical way we can actually know this is Swami says this word, you know, paropakaram idam shariram, meaning to say that seeing the Paramatma in everyone, in everybody at the same time, and how do we do this is by Swami says in his discourse, the way to do this is by love all and serve all. The moment we start to love others just as ourselves, and the moment we start to serve others and sacrifice our limited identity, this will come as a natural consequence to that process itself. So, and even the word paropakaram, like, you know, para is, when we look at the Paramatma, upa is more of the nearing, being very near to God, and then karam is like the bringing or going close. So paropakaram means how do we come close to Paramatma? How do we get ourselves in touch with the divinity itself, with the source of the divinity itself? And that is where the term love all, serve all comes. And when we practice that message or Mahavakya, it gives us that reality that we are looking for. Okay, thank you everyone. Moving forward.
Namaste.
Oops. Okay, maybe we will do this one last question, and then I think it's already 9:50. Okay, so the question here, this is also a reflection. The reflection is from the Advaitic perspective. The question is from the Advaitic perspective. What are the deeper significances of Lord Rama and Sita? Okay, of course, we know Lord Rama and Sita as a form of divinity, just as a part of the leg of the elephant, or one part, because it has a form. It doesn't describe Paramatman who is formless. So from the Advaitic perspective, okay, what are the deeper significances? So what does Lord Rama and Mother Sita symbolize? Anyone? Sister Sharmini, would you like to talk?
Yeah, Saram brother, I was just going to answer. I think Lord Rama signifies the universal consciousness, the Paramatma, and Mother Sita represents the Jivatma, the small self. You know, one is the big self and the other is the small self. So when Mother Sita had all the desire for the golden deer and all that, she had strayed off the track. For the first time, she had strayed off the track with her that desire, the vasana, right? So that's when she became further away from the universal consciousness. And then the whole drama took place and everything. And finally, she was united with Lord Rama and merged with the universal consciousness.
Yeah, wonderful, Mr. Sharmini. Thank you so much for bringing that insight. Anyone else who would like to try? We're all experts at the Ramayana. We've all been taught of this in the Balvikas. In Balvikas, we have all been taught of Ramayana and the story and what happens, and how Rama saves Mother Sita, and Hanuman's character. But we want to go in one step deeper, understanding it from the Advaitic lenses. What does Lord Rama mean in relation to Mother Sita? Sister Sharmini said that Rama is Paramatma and Mother Sita is Jivatma. That's one interpretation. There's no right or wrong answers here. There's no so anybody can just share your opinion. What do you think?
Can we just say that, Lord Rama is God himself, the God in form. Mata Sita, because she attached to the world, the golden deer, right? So that's where you break away from God already, right? The way I see it, you don't, although Lord Rama given specific instruction or told Sita, what to do or what not to do, and yet she still prefer the golden deer and not listening to the advice of Rama, right? So the thing is like you become attached to the deer. So it's no more Avictic today. I don't know whether I'm correct or not. Sairam.
Okay, thank you, Brother James. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Anyone else? Anyone has a different perspective from what Sister Sharmini, Brother James had shared?
Sairam, I think Rama stands for Dharma, no, it's dharmic, full of virtues, and Sita stands for purity. So how do these two qualities combine? Yeah. Sairam.
Thank you, Sister Jeannie. So Rama is dharmic, that represents Dharma, and Sita is purity. Okay, anyone else? Maybe one more person? Maybe in the context of, saying Swami has said multiple times of the existence itself. How the existence came about.
Separated.
Why not Chantika or who is it? The other sister from Ampang, I think. Pita or what, give some opinion because they are, Sister Tara, maybe can share a little bit their opinion. Chantika.
Hi, Ram. It's more like it's like Rama and Sita's reunion, I mean, it symbolizes like the realization of the Jivatma. And it's, when you realize that the true nature of the Jivatma, and when the individual realizes the oneness with the universal self, and then one transcends suffering and that it was never really separate from Brahman. I think that is
Thank
what
you.
it is.
Thank you, Auntie Chandrika. Thank you so much. So,
Can
Auntie
I
Chandrika,
share a little bit more?
of course, go ahead.
Just want to echo a little bit more of what Auntie Chandrika said, my guru also she. And for me, I felt like every time I read the Ramayana, Rama represented the ultimate truth. He is the truth of everything that you need a commoner or a normal person should follow what he depicts. And Sita in that cosmic play was the doer. She knew, if we read through Swami's version of the Ramayana, the entire thing was like a play. They all knew what was going to happen next, and they were all just playing along what Rama wanted to show the world as a way of life. So she was basically the doer of the right and the wrong. And when she detached herself away from Rama, and that's when she made the mistake and she was kidnapped, in simple terms. And then when she sat down and contemplated more and more, and every part of her or cell of her was chanting only his name back again, everything fell into place. So it was like a very simple play that everyone can follow in life, that if you followed the truth that was laid by Swami, you will go to the right path. And if you made mistakes, even then God will not let you go if you kept reminding yourself of who he is in your life. I felt that's the Advaitic perspective of the entire Ramayana itself. Saira.
Okay, thank you, Sister Shamini. Thank you, Auntie Chandrika. Thank you, everyone. So there are no right and wrong answers to this question. There can be different interpretations or different inferences from the Ramayana itself. Even scholars interpret Ramayana quite differently. These are advanced scholars, Vedic scholars. So in my understanding, so Rama symbolizes divine strength, like most of you has mentioned just now, Paramatma. And Sita represents the material creation of the Maya. Their marriage actually signifies the union of the divine principle, Purusha, and the nature, which is Prakriti. Okay, so the Purusha and the Prakriti, the witness and the material play, the cosmic play which is happening right now in the very moment. So both are of the same, but Swami says he divided himself from himself to experience himself. So this paragraph here can be one way to look at it. And however, this does not mean that this is the ultimate truth. So what Sister Sharmini mentioned, both the Sharminis mentioned, Sister Chandrika, Sister Jeannie, and the rest mentioned just now, Brother James as well. So they all kind of means the same thing. So for an example, in Ramayana, Rama and Sita's union is seen as a perfect balance of divine will and material existence. So from the Advaitic perspective, the union illustrates the non-dual nature of reality, where all diversity, the Purusha and the Prakriti, is actually a manifestation of the same underlying reality, which is Brahman. Okay, their union illustrates. So the Purusha and Prakriti, when Swami says he divided himself from himself to experience himself, means to say that the non-dual reality, which was the original reality, is actually the ultimate reality. And the diversity is a manifestation of the Brahman itself. So the diversity here means this, Purusha and the Prakriti. So the Prakriti keeps on going away, going into different parts. And this highlights how the story of Rama and Sita reflects the core Advaita Vedanta teaching that all forms and diversity are expression of one non-dual reality. Okay, so with this, I think I still have a few more slides, but we will stop here. We will continue from the next slide next week. That's okay.
Thank you, Sabitan. Very nice. Today's session was very inspiring as well. Very inspiring. So I just want to, maybe we can have that question next week. We can come back. Maybe Sabitan, remember that. I think, okay, now we know this truth that you have just said. Prakriti, I separated myself from myself. Rama, Sita, okay. How can I apply this information in my life, daily life? What is the relevance of this information in my daily life? How should I see it as? I think if you do that next week when we come back, and this is something for us to contemplate also. We have the knowledge, we know it is like this. Then how will I live with that information in a more practical sense? Then I think we're applying that information. Therefore, next week when we come back, maybe we can talk about it a little bit deeper. Okay, till we meet again. Thank you so much, Sai Ram. It's been nice. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram. Thank you.
Sai Ram.
Let's finish up with 3. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.